Greetings of the day, students. Today we'll be discussing A Shame by Dick Gregory, a story of childhood humiliation and social injustice. Let me share the screen for you. It's a powerful autobiographical narrative that exposes the devastating impact of poverty, racism, and institutional cruelty on a young boy's spirit, while it ultimately celebrates the resilience of human heart amidst all these troubles. Secondly, who is Dick Gregory? He was born with the name Richard Gregory. Later, his name was changed to Dick Gregory. He is a voice for justice through laughter, that's humor. He emerged as America's most influential African American comedians, and he was also a civil rights activist during the turbulent 1960s. He pioneered a bold approach to social commentary, wielding humor as a weapon against racial prejudice and systemic injustice. His autobiography includes Shame. It's a deep, personal, reflective narrative that takes the readers back to his formative childhood days. Through vivid storytelling, he exposes the experiences of racism and poverty that shaped his perspective of life as a whole, and that led to the commitment of equality and human dignity. Here's the setting. The setting is divided into four. One, set of clothes. Secondly, you see frozen pipes. Third, St. Louis struggle. Fourth, unbroken ambition. He just owned one outfit and he had to get water supply by washing his clothes. He had to melt the ice, get water and wash his clothes. That was how he received his water supply. And growing up in Missouri during an era of segregation and economic hardship, his family faced daily battles just to survive with dignity intact. Fourthly, unbroken ambition, that is, despite crushing poverty, Gregory harbored dreams and aspirations, refusing to let his circumstances define his future or limit his potential. The symbol of Helen Tucker. Helen Tucker is seen as an impossible dream because it was not just a childhood person that he loved, but it was also the longing that became in him. Light skinned, well dressed, and emerging as the confident person, it comes with an embodied social status and respect that denied to him. He worked tirelessly to earn money. He was shining shoes in bitter cold, and he was shoveling snow from sidewalks, all to save pennies that might somehow bridge the chasm between him and Helen Tucker. The school experience was something very harsh. He says, I never learned hate at home or shame. I had to go to school for that. The school is a sanctuary of learning and growth, but for him, it was a place of humiliation. It is where he went through dehumanization. The space of possibility into a chamber of judgment is projected here. The institution, which was meant to provide opportunity, reinforced inequality, teaching children about the less capability and less humanism and less worthlessness. The impact of shame is four. One, tool of control. Shame has functioned as a social weapon designed to keep poor and black children in their place by making them feel inherently deficient and unworthy of respect or opportunity. Secondly, erasure of identity, where the teacher's cruelties made Gregory's feel invisible. Third, seeds of understanding, where the traumatic experience about this Lord actually planted seed that would blossom into activism and social critique in his life. Fourthly, defined determination, where rather than being permanently broken, he channeled his pain into resolve, refusing to accept the narrative others imposed on him. The literary devices are these vivid imagery, that is crackling in winter, ice melting drop by drop. Secondly, powerful symbolism, where Helen Tucker transcends her role as a character, becoming a metaphor for social acceptance, someone who would bridge between poverty and privilege. Third, devastating irony, the bitter irony that school went through. Fourth, repetition and structure. Gregory employs repetitive phrases and parallel construction. The themes are dehumanizing poverty, racial discrimination, stolen innocence, fourth, resilient hope. These are the themes evident in this particular work of art. From shame to activism, it's a legacy. He became tireless civil rights activist, marching alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and other leaders. His political ambitions led him to run for mayor of Chicago, and he was also an advocacy that spanned decades, always returning to the core belief that human being deserves dignity, opportunity, and respect. Concluding, three things. One, wounds that teach. The work exposes how systemic racism and poverty inflict deep emotional wounds. Secondly, a call to action. The narrative isn't merely historical, it's a mirror held up to society. Thirdly, inspiration through resilience. Gregory's journey from a humiliated childhood to courage and resilience and transformation. Thank you, students.